Hey everybody, happy Friday. It's another Mavens of Manufacturing Day, and today I'm really excited because we have returning guests Ali G and Nikki Gonzales. How are you ladies doing today?
But this time together.
Yeah, good morning.
Good.
I know. I'm really excited, and I just want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedules. You guys were talking about that right before we went live. We're a few minutes late too because right before I came in to start the live, my son wanted to play his video game in the same area that I'm in and started throwing a fit. So I was like, we can't have that today. But it's so great to have you two back. How have you been? What have you been up to? I really want to talk about automation, ladies, but I first just want to follow up with both of you and see what you've been up to and how are things going.
I'll let Ali take that one first.
Okay, well, I've been busy. And I think this last month was insane. Or like for me, it's the second to last month because this month will be the first year anniversary of like PCE going like solo.
That's really
crazy,
awesome.
but
Woo,
like
party.
Party
and I now
time.
have like a team, a small team, but I have a team, and we kind of got over the like growing pains this last month.
Oh, that's great.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super in a better place now. But last month was intense, and I did get COVID.
Oh,
So
that sucks.
between that and yeah, so I was super sick, and so it was like an intense month. But how was your month, Nikki?
Intense as well. I got sick, not COVID, thankfully. But yeah, so last time we saw each other was at Automate, right? And I think that's probably the last time most people saw us was we were posting at Automate and stuff, and then we both came back to work and sickness and kids and employees and all that good stuff after the trip and kind of went off the radar for a little bit. But yeah, the show was amazing. Both for us, Automation Ladies. So we did some recording live over there, which was really cool. Although Ali lost her voice most of the time, so I did more talking than I probably should have.
No, it was good.
We learned to wear hats, right? Let's get this in the broadcast. We have to figure out the lighting and all that situation, but I'm getting the hang of it. Yeah. And I did a pitch for my startup Quotebeam over at Automate, which was really cool. I got to wear my Maven shirt.
That one
But
was
yeah,
amazing.
coming home was crazy because not only did we get a bunch of new, relationships and partners and customers at the show to follow up on and with, things have also just been gotten crazier and crazier in the supply chain. So more and more of our automation community is reaching out for help for finding parts. Quotebeam has been growing like crazy. So this is also, roughly our sort of 1 year anniversary. Although we launched our marketplace fully online back in February, and it is just growing like crazy. And we need to expand our team. And, it's one of these, we're in the growing pains phase, Ali, as you know about. And I've just been insanely busy. It's really rewarding, but at the same time, I could use the weekend, like it's Friday. So
That's really exciting for both of you. I was so happy to see you both walking Automate together. I unfortunately could not join you. My daughter graduated high school during that week, and it was just crazy busy for me. But what I thought was really cool
asking
too,
about you. Everyone was asking about you,
which is super awesome. By the way, that was really fun to hear. But what I thought was interesting is there seemed to be a lot of women there, which is crazy cool because I remember when I first started going to trade shows, there might have been like 3 or 4 women that I would have seen, and there seemed to be a lot of women in, especially women in technology positions, like actually doing the hands-on work, like
exhibitors from companies that were women, lots of them.
Yeah, so that's super, super cool. And I just want to go through the comments real quick because we got a lot coming through. We have DC on here. She's dope. She said, dope background, Ellie. I agree. You always have like the bright colored lights and stuff. So every time I see your post, I'm just like,
the controls party. Super always a controls party.
Yeah, and then you showed your tools too, and I'm like, I want those tools. I don't know what I'll do with them, but I want them because they're just so bright and colorful.
Well, you can come help me wire because I got a lot of stuff to do.
You got to teach me how, because I wouldn't know how to do any of that. I know how to write about it, just not do it. But then we have a LinkedIn user. I don't know who this is.
Oh, well, hi there, LinkedIn user. Tell us who you are.
LinkedIn seems to do that with certain profiles, and I don't understand why, and I haven't figured out how to fix it yet. But
like turn it off.
Yeah, how do you? I think it might be in their personal settings. But hi, it's nice to see you too. And then we have Dana. Good morning, Dana. Thank you for joining us. And Angela, she says good morning. Daniel, congrats on your 1 year, Allie.
Thank you,
Mr. Aaron Prather's here. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us. Again, the LinkedIn user. I'm not going to know how to pronounce your name.
For sure.
I'm not going to know how to pronounce your name, but thank you for coming. I don't want to butcher it. I'm so sorry. But she says amazing problems to have. Nikki, do you know her?
I just saw her this morning on a show with Lucy, who commented earlier. It's called Action Items. They're really big experts on ERP systems and supply chains and stuff. So definitely follow them and check them out. In DC,
I'm going to have to contact her and ask her how to pronounce her name because I don't want to murder it. I'm so sorry about that.
I am going to leave it alone too, because if I remember from this morning, I think I know, but like I have my real name, not Nikki, but the reason I'm called Nikki is because my real name is impossible to pronounce correctly. I'm really picky about it. So I try not to butcher other people's names too, if I don't know that I have it right.
I actually did have one of those moments with Nikki, and it is impossible to say her name.
Yeah,
it's impossible. I speak Spanish and I can like pronounce all kinds of stuff and I can roll my R's, but I cannot say her name. So don't try. Just don't ever even try. Yeah. Don't even ask her. You cannot say it.
That's why I make it easy for everyone with Nikki. Can't really screw that one up.
Who is that how-to robot gentleman? Soren? I will always mess up.
I just call him Soren, but probably butchering it too.
He said that was wrong when I tried pronouncing it that way, and I was like, "Not from Denmark. I'm sorry. I don't have the linguistic skills to say it." Hank said hello. Hank, I owe you.
Your girls are watching. Hi, girls.
I owe you guys shirts. Yay. They're on their way. I'm going to be ordering those. Super excited that they were tuning in. Jessica's from Denver. That's a lovely place to be. So we got a bunch of people in here.
Can you make me some coffee too? I forgot to tell my dad that I'm doing a live, and he just came in and made himself a cup of coffee. So I'm going to grab one too. Larisha, very cool.
Thank you so much for the linguistic stuff because, I did not want to murder your name, and I appreciate that. So welcome, Larisha. Thank you so much. We're happy to have you here. Hello, ladies. And then LinkedIn user. Hey, y'all. Phoenix and Ann are here and watching. Oh, it's Ann Wyatt from Workforce 4.0. Hi, Phoenix. Thanks for watching. I'm super excited she's here, too. So she just started her own podcast.
Allie was just on it, and I completely missed it.
Oh, you were? I missed that one, too.
Weren't you on it, or was that you, Meaghan?
I was on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I'm mixing you two up. It's like when you call your kids by the wrong name because you love them all so much. I do that with you guys, and apparently I do it with other people too. Because I think it was like Caleb Travis and Brennan Duger. I totally mixed them up too in a comment. And I was like, oh, it's just I'm just like your mom mixing up my kids. I love you both.
I do that with my boys too. I call Declan Ronan all the time and Ronan Declan. But I think that's a good segue with Ann here because she just started her own podcast, Workforce 4.0, and it's every Wednesday. It was a lot of fun to be on there. She's great. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to both of you because you started Automation Ladies. And that when you made the announcement for that podcast, it just blew up. I think you have almost 4,000 followers now on LinkedIn or almost 5,000, which is crazy fantastic because you don't see, and that was like overnight too. That wasn't like a week or a month long thing.
Dude, that is all Allie. She's got the posting down. Share it. She just forces things into the world.
You just put like a picture of like a PLC or like tools and you're like, follow Automation Ladies. Like, I don't know. It just works. I don't know. People are like,
working
okay.
really well.
Apparently there's demand, right? So
Yes.
Yeah,
They want to hear.
absolutely.
They want to hear what we got to say.
and
Yeah,
we're working
which
on
is
getting
great.
it out there. So
Yeah,
that'll
we've
probably
had
be-
so many conversations and we keep hyping about it, and it's been like 3 months, but like we swear to God, people are working on it, and like we're paying them. So like,
But they're also real people that also get sick, and our producer got sick, and then now she's on vacation. So good for her. She needs a vacation.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. We'll be releasing at, don't want to promise anything, but this month for sure you'll be seeing iTunes and all that good stuff. But we probably should have just done lives like you. Then at least
she's
hey,
got
they
3
happen.
of them ready. Like, so we will be doing this month. It's the intro, like.
Yeah, we're really bad at talking about ourselves. We jump into the episodes and talk to the guests, and then the feedback we got from our producer was like, "Hey guys, you kind of need to at least introduce yourselves." And we're like, "Oh, it's not about us. It's about whoever we're talking to." They're like, "Yeah, but if people are coming to listen to you, they need to like be able to hear who you are." And so we're supposed to do an intro for the episodes.
That's what I do with Mavens sometimes.
We've tried to do intros, and then we just talk about like life, and we're like, we cannot post any of this.
Yeah, we actually have. So like our episode with you, Meaghan, our producer's feedback was, yeah, you probably want to re-record that one.
I was kind of thinking that because we totally
all were.
Went off on it. I think it was like and it was so late too when we did that, and
we were all exhausted. It was really late.
We were just like, screw it, we're just gonna.
That's what we were.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. It's like we're learning. We don't know how to be podcasters.
It was a weird vent session. Yeah.
Yeah, you make it look so easy, Meaghan. We're like, oh, we can do it too, which we can, but it happens overnight.
It's definitely a lot of work. I mean, I have my struggles too, as I've explained to both of you. But the reason why I like the live so much is because after we're done with our conversation, it automatically uploads the video to my YouTube channel. Unfortunately, like all of my podcast stuff on Spotify and Apple and all that, that's behind. And that's something that I need to catch up on. But at least it's available on YouTube and people can see your faces and see the interaction, which is great. And then I have it on like Twitter and Facebook, Twitch and LinkedIn as well too. So it works. And then StreamYard just opened up StreamYard Teams. So for anyone that's like interested in collaborating with other brands, you can actually invite them to your backend and they can upload their social channels, and then it pushes it out to everything simultaneously. So it's not just your branded channels, it's the other brand's channels as well too, which is really cool. So expands the reach.
So we should do a joint Mavens Ladies live at some point when we get all the kinks figured out, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's like one of my questions too. Why did you want to start Automation Ladies? Like, what inspired you to start it, and what are some of the things you're hoping to cover, within Automation Ladies? I know with our episode, we're definitely going to need to record that one because we were just, I think, venting to each other and unloading, which nobody wants to hear that. But what are some of the main things that you want to just, put out there for your audiences to hear and learn from?
So that's a good question. A lot of things. What inspired us to do it was really what I saw as a lack of content. I didn't realize that Allie had already wanted to do something like this for a while. I kind of came in and saw, there's a lot of cool stuff now, both on LinkedIn, and there's podcasts and stuff, but like I just don't see a lot of women, particularly when it comes to our automation space. So I got introduced to you by Jake Hall, Meaghan, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. But and then you're, specifically more broadly in manufacturing in the sector, right? And talking to women. And then I ran across Allie's LinkedIn page, and just like everybody else that follows her was like, wow, here she is actually doing this stuff. Like, she's posting what she's working on. It's really great. And I just wanted to talk to her. So I fangirled really hard and tried to come up with ideas as to like how I could get her interested in working with me. And I just threw the idea out there one day. I was like, hey, you want to do a podcast or something? Like, we need to put ourselves out there, because we both kind of came to the conclusion that we'd love to see more women in the space. And Allie had started this really cool group thread, like a message on LinkedIn for girls that are messing with hardware and automation. And that's where we met, where I met Courtney Fernandez and a bunch of other really cool girls. And so it was really just we saw something that was missing. And what I don't like to do is, bitch about a problem and then not do anything about it. So I was just like, if I'm going to complain about it, I'm going to do something about it. But at the same time, one of the reasons I've never started something like this is, you've just, there's a million and one reason to not do something, even if you have a good idea, right? And very much something I've thought of on and off for years. Oh, I should do a podcast or a show or this or that, but always so many reasons why I don't. So in this case, I was like, kind of like when you get an accountability partner or something, it just, you're more likely. Like I used to go to the gym when I had a friend that we used to go to together every morning. And then when I moved, we stopped going because I wasn't going to keep doing it myself. So I roped Allie into this thing. I created a name for it and a website and a LinkedIn page. And I threw together a graphic, and then lo and behold, Allie just pushed it out into the world, and then we had to do it. And that's exactly what needed to happen, because if she hadn't done that, I would have thought about this thing forever and never done anything. And so it was kind of like the combination of the two of us is what made it happen. What we want to do with it, we really just want to have more conversations and representation from the viewpoint of women in the automation industry. And then at the same time, we are learning. So we're come from two different sides of the industry. Allie being a systems integrator, me coming from the sales engineering side. I'm more, coming from the factory automation side. She's got a lot of process automation experience. So we have a lot of fun talking to people because we have different questions, different things we don't know, different things we want to know. But one of the things that, we want to, for other girls and women, whether they're already in the space or not, to see that there are a lot of different options for jobs, a lot of different career paths, a lot of different ways to start. And it isn't one thing that is for one type of person. And so we just want to talk to all types of different people in different roles because we are very interested in learning about them and their roles and what the roles are and how they got there. And we think there's other people that want to learn that too. And then I think also just from a point of view of learning about technology and what's out there in automation, and what's new and, what's useful, but just from our little point of view, right? We ask some questions that maybe other people wouldn't. And I think that's, interesting to some people. Yeah. You tell me, Allie, your motivations may or may not line up with mine, but I know that's why.
They were similar with the seeing the lack, especially because I watch, Tim Wilborn, and I watch videos on how to do, control stuff, because there's a video for everything on YouTube. Yeah. But there's not a video of women doing all of those things on YouTube. And so for me, I was just I was never going to put my face on any kind of social stuff like that. Now I had a big following, but I wasn't posting my own original stuff for most of that time. As I grew my following, I was just sharing the really good nuggets that I find on YouTube that were specifically automation related. But I go down these crazy rabbit holes, and people liked that because there's not they're just wow, I don't know what specialty, but there's all technology and automation based, because it is. And that's the kind of interest that I had. So that's how I built my original 10,000. But then when I started posting, and I got definitely people to tell me hey, you should do your own, you have your own content, that because I've been I like Instagram and post. I was already kind of just filtering my own pictures of I liked taking pictures of tools, hardware, everything that I take pictures of and post now, scenery, whatever. I kind of just taking pictures. So I guess I had a little bit of photography and editing that. For years and years and years and years, I've been doing that. And just I wasn't going to share it with the world, but I saw that there's no one. And then people were you should post some of it. And I was there's no one. And I went to go look. I'm okay, well, there's got to be some women that started their own companies. And I started asking mostly guys, and they were you're an anomaly. That was the words that were used by one specific person. And I didn't take that offense to that. It wasn't offensive. It was just like, damn, like nobody knows, like we can't reference like women doing this. Like, so that sucks. And so I could see that it was like, you know what? Like if I did this, it would be worth it because then somebody would do it. Because I think that was the other thing when we first started talking. It was like, we're just going to do this until like a whole bunch of automation ladies like show up to like do this because we don't have time for this, but it needs to be done. It needs to be done so bad. And so we're doing it. But we welcome, like, we want to grow into like, and that's why we like, when we meet these women, we're like, yes. And we're becoming friends with like some of them. Like I've now hung out with Courtney Fernandez kids, like, and her kids are super smart. Holy crap.
I don't doubt that at all. Like
Holy
she's
crap.
super smart herself.
Yeah. Like that 6-year-old. Whoa.
She's coming on to Mavens later.
Awesome.
Super excited. Yeah.
Awesome. And she just like moves around her UR5. I think it's a UR5. She just moves her robot around to do demos all over the place. And she keeps it in her garage. So she just like, that's the coolest thing ever. And like, I don't know, these types of moms are all over the place where they're just like got the robots and robot moms. Like that's a thing. And I guess that's another thing. Like, podcast. Ladies is like robot moms. Alma Fernandez is a robot mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is some of these, like you said, some of the guests have become our friends and some of them have become like business relationships. Like Courtney, I mean, Alma totally helped me out and one of my customers, like probably a month ago now. But it's very cool because typically in our industry, we're oftentimes the only woman in the room when it's a physical, location or maybe an office or a production plant. We may be the only one or maybe one of, 2, 3 or a handful out of like 100 total. And it's definitely not guaranteed that just because there's another woman in the room that you have something else in common or that you want to be friends or, any of the above. But just making those connections through Automation Ladies and like Mavens and just these communities that we're kind of building, we all of a sudden have a lot more people to potentially connect with that are women in our space than we ever have before in the physical space. But then it's super cool because the relationships that flourish, like we do end up meeting in person, whether it's at conferences or like customer sites, we do business together. So that's one of the things I said earlier on with Allie. I was like, you know what? Even if we never publish any of these episodes, this whole thing will have been worth it because the conversations we have had and the connections we've made have been amazing. But also I would say like that is hundreds of dollars worth of therapy right there. Some of the sessions that we're never going to publish.
We all, as women, like in this industry, have a lot of stuff in common. Like,
well, and Jessica said, she said, Fancy can lead to multiple topics of new videos. Chop that one up and find the issues to discuss later. Like, I feel like that's the thing too, is when you get together, you find out commonalities that you've had with other women's experiences in the sector too. And it's just great to have those conversations and just be able to vent about it and know that you're not like outcast. Yeah. And it's not like, we're bashing the men in the sector at all, because I feel like without
Women's Automation Anonymous.
Right. But I feel like without the men that we've had too within our networks, we wouldn't be where we're at today either, because we need those men advocates as well too.
Oh yeah, we have huge supporters, and we love you guys.
Especially Aaron, who is fantastic, and I just love it. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy.
You got me. I was saying that out loud.
That's exactly what she did. That's exactly what she did.
Yep, that's exactly what I did.
And then I want to pull this up because this is what I get excited about. So Hank shared a photo on his LinkedIn after I had a conversation with Ann, and it was his 2 little girls watching our interview. So Peyton and Aiden are very excited to see all 3 of you together today. You guys are inspiring them. And I think this is what I enjoy. Like
Hi, Peyton. Hi, Aiden.
Thanks for watching, ladies. We appreciate you. But Allie, that's one of the things too that I really admire about you is so there's Little Miss Fix-It. And you sent her a Maven
Awesome.
shirt, which is awesome. Thank you, by the way, for doing that. Because when she had that in her video, I like started crying immediately.
Me too, man.
Holy crap. And then you sent her that Adreno set, which made
I actually
me
sent her
cry.
PLCs. I sent Nikki
PLCs,
Elsa's Arduino set.
That's right. But when she did
And
that
Courtney,
video, putting all that stuff together. When she started putting all that stuff together, I started crying, and I was like, "This is awesome! Like, this is really cool."
That's a big shout out to Jordan Day for that. For being like the most he's super. That's what we're that's what one of the things I call for all the time is like I beg dads to do like what Jordan Day does, and he's just like, well, I'm gonna put both these kids and like make them learn stuff, and like so, and he's admitted, he's like, girls can hold their attention earlier, so like they can actually like pay attention to you being like, all right, this is how we're gonna hold this torch, and like she will do that earlier than little boys can do that. So just an idea, fathers.
He also said like he exposes both his daughter and his son to the same stuff, and his daughter is more interested in it than his son is.
Well, she's also a little bit older.
She is.
But, but don't assume that little girls are not going to be doing that, like, because they would love to. And if you already like it, the chance that your daughter loves it is huge, because you're like you're her dad. Like that's huge. Like and especially if you're going to show it to her, like she's going to love that. Like maybe she'll grow up and be like, I don't want to do this, but like wait till that time. Like at least show her, because those skills are like really good for her future.
Yeah, and she's already learning how to like be social as well too, to get in front of the camera and communicate what she's doing, and just her communication skills already are fantastic.
She's not shy. Yeah, she's amazing. No. Like, and it's just interviewed her. She's on one of the automation ladies. Like,
she's gonna be one of the episodes in the that's gonna be coming out soon. So we're kind of debating whether we'll release a little bit of a season, or we'll probably like do a weekly schedule. But we're pretty excited about it. We're getting there. One of the things I didn't realize was how bad the audio was in my little what I thought was a great recording studio. We called it the Pentagon. I love it, but it's got 5 sides to it, and apparently the sound just bounces off of every one of those sides. And so I didn't realize until after we recorded probably 5 or 6 episodes that there was an intense echo in all of my recordings. Which is one of the things we've had to work through. Like we were able to, our producer was able to, fix that sort of. But then once you do audio editing and then you have video, right? So we can't really do much with the video unless we edit it heavily as well, just because the audio is so bad. So of course we'll just save all this stuff, and like once we have the time or the resources, we'll have a team, they can, edit it and chop it up, and we'll get something out of it for sure. But that was definitely one of those things that's on me. Like I thought my audio sounded fine, and then later on we listened to recordings and it's like,
You gotta put those like foam insulation pads all over the place so that it absorbs it. Well, we already kind of answered, what can we expect to see from both of you in the future. You have to get some of your episodes up and running, but what else are you, collaborating on or wanting to work on? Are there any upcoming shows that you both want to attend? Like what's the future look like for Automation Ladies outside of the actual podcast?
That's a great question. We really want to make this more of a community and a bigger thing than just a podcast. So we will probably be doing some LinkedIn Live like demos, because some of the stuff that we want to do is not necessarily great for just the audio format, right? We like to see like technology in action and those sorts of things. So we'll do probably some panels as well. But really looking at, I think we're going to do some collaborations with Mavens, hopefully. I know there's been some people that have asked us to do that and like are asking about events. I don't know that we have concrete plans yet, but we definitely want to come
Automate 2023.
That for sure, yeah. So ISTS in Chicago, we want to come mainly because we want to see you, Meaghan. I know you're going to play a big part there, right?
Yeah, I'm excited to go there. Andrew Crow's also going to be there, so I'm hoping to have conversations with him as well.
Yeah.
There's just so much to see there at IMTS. I don't know if it's as big as Automate or bigger. I have no idea the
I've
size
never been to it
comparison
before,
between.
but Automate 2023 is like the only concrete plan in terms of events that we have right now. And that's in Detroit again next year, I think in May this time, a little bit earlier. And then we're considering, I think we're probably going to be doing an event in April uh, with Siemens, but there's, so our calendar,
Oh, that would be fun.
yeah, honestly, like we've just been kind of off the radar for the last 3 weeks since Automate, just hunkering down like with day-to-day work. I know Allie's been off
Yeah.
site like almost every day. That's why this morning I was like, I hope Allie didn't get eaten by spiders or that she'll manage to show up because her real life work is like super intense when she's on site, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes customers call her and she has to jump on a plane or whatever.
Well,
So
and then I think that's the cool thing too with Allie is when she's traveling, she's also sharing that journey, so you can actually see what a day in the life looks like for her career path. And that's kind of hard to do just at a career fair and just talk about it, like being able to see the pictures and everything. And I think that's another reason too, Allie, why a lot of people like your content because it's so personal to you and authentic that they're kind of walking alongside of you during your journey. And you're not just like trying to be a subject matter expert, you're also, showing that you're a student in a way and you're willing to learn. And I think that, vulnerability is what people like too, because there's a lot of people sometimes that will be like, oh, I know everything kind of attitude. And it's so off putting. And I think when people can see that, oh, you're good at what you do, but you're still open to learn more and you're
Oh, and
still excited
you'll
to learn
never
more.
stop because automation is constantly changing. So there's no way to know any of it like
Yeah.
100% because tomorrow, like they just came out with another controller or another module or another sensor or another communication type or another anything, another robot, another end of arm tooling. Like,
Yeah.
it's never ending. And that's just talking about the new stuff. We also literally are in an industry where there are hundreds of different manufacturers making various parts of these systems.
really cool stuff.
And as a systems integrator or machine builder, you have to piece together all these different technologies from these different vendors. And the supply chain right now is insane. So even people that have been very comfortable using the same technologies, the same brands, the same vendors for the last like 20 years, guess what? Now is the time where you're going to have to learn something new because lead times are anywhere from, weeks to months to you don't even know if you're ever going to be able to get something.
Yeah.
So Allie, I think, as much as like she's learning everything new, she's also having to learn stuff that isn't necessarily new, but just using a different,
Yep.
controller or a different software that
Yep.
there hasn't been an imperative to make that change before. But now it's like this is not getting any better in terms of these supply chain issues for another 2-3 years at best. And if people haven't figured that out yet, like come talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm not posting as much as I should because I'm out there like just saving these
You're
fires,
helping people.
things that
Yeah.
can't be built and projects that can't be delivered because something is on back order for 6 months. It's time we all need to just share what we know because we can't make this thing work anymore without helping each other. Whether it's
Yeah.
Allie's
Teamwork.
flying across the country to do controls projects in Florida, in LA, and she's in Seattle. That just goes to show, there isn't just this massive amount of people and expertise available all the time everywhere. And we really need to come together to try to, get all this automation built that our industry desperately needs. The manufacturing sector desperately needs more automation. I mean, ties so much into your work, Meaghan. How do we get the next generation interested in these jobs? Well, we have to change them from the perception of manual labor jobs that are only for one type of person. And the more automation we bring in, the cooler the jobs get and the more diverse workforce we can have. And that all ties in together, which is why working together as a community, also just on the, sort of messaging side and getting these different messages out to different, communities is really important because it's not just about oh, it's nice, we want to talk about it. It's everybody's asking us all the time, how do we solve these problems? How do we solve this skills gap or whatever? And it's not one simple answer. It's we have to attack it from all sides all together.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I like what Andrew's doing so much too, because he's actually putting his boots to the ground and going from different city to city to really hype up manufacturing and make it cooler than some of the athletic brands that are out there that kids naturally just gravitate to because, you know, they have their sport heroes, their athlete heroes. So let's start making the heroes like Allie, because she has her own superhuman belt with all of her tools in it. I think I made that comment on your post the other. I was like, this is like the coolest
It's a
superhero
rolling
belt
tool
ever.
pouch.
Yeah. But I mean, you're doing cool things with it. So I think that if we can change the narrative to make it cool again and bring back the pride in manufacturing again. And that's, I got asked the other day why I picked Rosie the Riveter, why I wanted to resurface that idol. And it's because back in the day, women looked up to Rosie. Women looked up to Rosie the Riveter. Right. You know, so I want to make it cool. Like,
it's a well-known image that people know and remember. And that's the thing, like when kids are growing up and they see, you know, oh, what can we grow up to be? This thing isn't one of those well-known images. Like, oh, it's, you know, doctor, police officer, all these different like professions that are so well known to kids. Yeah. Like engineer and, you know, systems integrator and controls person, like none of those are it, right? I used to think that engineering meant that you had to sit like behind a desk and like do drawings and spreadsheets or something all day, all the time. And I was like, that's not for me. That sounds extremely boring.
Yeah.
And then when I got into it, I'm like climbing up on ladders on factory floors and, you know, setting up cameras to inspect, you know, like lemonade containers. And it's so different from what you think because you don't hear a lot about it or see a lot about it, about what it really is. And some of what it really is needs to change, and some of what it really is very cool already.
Yeah. Well, my daughter, the reason why she's going into nursing is because of Grey's Anatomy. She is obsessed with that show.
Yeah.
She's so obsessed with it. She's like,
so we need to make a show, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got like the office and the IT crowd. Like we need the, I don't know, the maintenance crowd.
We need a camera on us 24/7. Oh my God.
Automation 24/7. Putting out fires from coast to coast.
Literally.
I honestly had this idea. I threw out a comment on LinkedIn a while ago. I was like, why don't we have, you know how we have like there's a lot of like competition shows now. Like, make this meal out of this random basket.
Do that.
Bake a cake that looks like the Eiffel Tower and like teams compete. It's like, why don't we give people like a basket of components and say, build a machine that does this, or like a robot.
Or control panel.
The thing is, though, there are competitions out there like that. There's welding competitions. So there's the Skills Trade USA, or I think I'm murdering that organization's name, but it's a national organization. I think it's even an international organization.
But it's not on TV, so did it happen?
It's not televised. Right, it's not televised. First Robotics is like the only thing that I know that has some televised recognition.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows First. But then Project MFG, who's working with Andrew, they have Battle of the Trades. I didn't know that was a thing. It's televised, but it's not on any of the major television channels out there. And the only reason why I found out about it is I think Andrew was the one that connected me to one of the leaders there. And they have battles of the trade. Like, that's really, really cool. And who doesn't like battling robots? Like, I think that's the coolest thing ever to see two battle bots. Like, robots.
Well, there's that. There's battle bots, like the actual robots battling. But I think just different types of content of people building things. And the thing is, it can't be like on the niche, you know, channel that nobody
definitely have wiring competitions.
Skills USA competition. Thank you, Carolyn. That's what.
So what I'm saying is, like, let's make an entertainment version of these things, because until it's like on the level of Grey's Anatomy, where people like your daughter just see it and fall in love with it.
We need a lot of money to do it, because I'm thinking like we could like do rigging competitions and just be like, okay, we got 4 forklifts and we got 4 of the same load. Like, how are you gonna put it on that truck?
Well, you know what? Also, YouTube.
I've seen some crazy ways to deliver panels, and it is.
Yeah, so everybody come up with good catchy names for shows.
Can you deliver it?
Manufacturing ninjas. That's
cool. I know.
But, well, and one of the things is like, so this Project MFG that I was talking about, the high school that I graduated from had no idea it was a thing. And we're working with that high school again because Andrew's going to come back to that city, and we're making it a bigger event than what I had last year in October when I first went there. And Deborah Prouse is the woman that I'm working with from the school, and she is like super excited. We're actually bringing a bus from that school to IMTS. So a bunch of students from the high school that I graduated from are coming to IMTS, and I'm super excited about it. But they had no idea Project MFG was a thing. And Andrew got them a couple applications to get their CNC students, and I think their welding students, to enter their competition. And the winner gets $100,000. Like, that's insane. That's a lot of money for schools to use however they want. And they had no idea it was a thing. So it's really like, this is why I like stuff like this, because if you're connecting with people and you meet people and you're like, oh, there's a need for that, I'm going to get you in touch with so-and-so. It actually is a great pattern to have, like it's just a great
and that's a good way to start. But we need more, right? So this has to grow. But one of the points that Aaron so we had an episode with Aaron. Thanks for coming on, Aaron. I'm excited to publish that one. But one of the things he mentioned was he had a program where he brought students into FedEx to learn some stuff. And the school administrators only invited boys to go. And so Aaron was like, hey, where's all the girls? And they were like, what do you mean? Well, we didn't think they'd be interested. So the school counselors and stuff didn't even invite them to go. They didn't know it was a thing. And then what I hear about the FIRST Robotics and stuff too, unfortunately, since it's not a standard thing across all schools, certain schools have it and they give access to the groups or they help them. But I think it was Tim Wilborn's son was on a podcast. I think it was EECOSY, but he was mentioning like the robotics program he was involved in. They were like in the basement, of the school, and it wasn't something that was well publicized. And if you're like, hey, come do this cool thing that's like in the basement for a few nerds, like of course nobody's gonna be interested in that. I think there's this whole perception that it's so niche and it's only for a few people that like it's just not getting out there in the mainstream for people that could be very interested in it, but it's just not offered as an option. And I think we need to change that perception that these things are only of interest to a few people.
So you mentioned Tim Wilborn. You said next time you talk to Amber, ask her about our Wonder Woman crowbar as far as panel rigging goes.
Okay. I will be asking about that for sure.
And then Angela, Cisco publishes amazing photos of fiber connection jobs in their social media. I love those. Ooh. Yeah, so I think if you just get people involved and you're more proactive in your community, like you just have to put in the work. That you just have to assume that they're not going to know unless you're the one telling them. So I'm actually working on getting a FIRST Robotics team set up at the high school I graduated from too, because they don't have one. And I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And I was like, if I do this for you, you got to win. Like that's my only stipulation. If you don't win, I won't give up on you.
We've sponsored a few teams. Aaron does a really great job, like publicizing the teams he runs across. Quotebeam has sponsored one of them out of Frisco, Texas. And once we have, get a little bit bigger, I'd love to do more of that. I pushed my CEO into being a guest judge on one of the competitions.
Nice.
So trying to get more people involved in that. But yeah, Allie and I don't have the time right now, but once I get a chance, I really want to get back out there into actual real life, like local community stuff, because I just relocated across states multiple times in the last few years, and now I'm looking to stay put for a while, and my kids are going to start going to school and stuff. So I'm sure Automation Ladies will be doing some on-site live stuff with schools at some point. We should definitely collaborate on that. And then if whenever Andrew expands his tour outside the Midwest, we will definitely try to be part of that as well. I know Allie has already provided like a video that he shows, I think, in some of the sessions. Anybody that's doing anything in this area, this outreach, like reach out to us. We want to help. We need that network effect, right? A little bit from everybody goes a long way.
Absolutely. And I know Courtney's going to be helping with the tour as well, and Shannon out in California is going to help. So he has plans to go all over the United States, which is awesome. And just providing a little bit of your time goes a really long way, in my opinion. But I know we're coming up on time, and before I let you ladies go, I just wanted to see what your biggest ask would be from our audience today in terms of automation ladies, like if you have an ask. Otherwise, don't.
Patience, please. Don't abandon us. We will be publishing soon. So far, you can just follow our LinkedIn page, Automation Ladies. We're going to be putting up the links for all the different places where the podcast is going to reside. We also have a website. It's automationladies.io. But we want to hear from you, and we want to hear what you want to hear from us, what you want to see from us, any ways that you can want to get involved, want to suggest guests to us, like we want this to be a community thing. It's not about me and Allie. Like Allie said, as soon as there's more automation ladies come out of the woodwork to show us up and replace us, we will happily let them do so. We want to provide a platform for everybody else. But I also just want to give a shout out to everybody that has supported us so far. It's been amazing, and it's so cool to get messages from people that say like, hey, I see what you're doing. I really, believe in what you're doing, or I have daughters. I hear that a lot, because there are mostly men in our industry, and they know, that they want their daughters to have the chance to do this if they want to. And so, yeah, please keep the positive messages coming. It really, it makes my day. I don't know about you, Allie, but like, it's super cool to get just a little note that says, hey, I like what you're doing. I support you, whatever that is. Like, I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, especially when we're having like hard days, like that just like really fixes it.
Yeah.
So
and I would say that not just about automation ladies and ourselves, but like people just be kind and supportive to your community. Everybody out there, like we're all just hustling really hard right now.
Yeah, if you don't like something, just block them. Like, don't go after them. Like, leave it alone. Just turn it off. Like, don't look at it anymore. Like,
just support what you want, positive.
And then and go support what you do like instead of taking down what you don't like.
Yeah, I like that. I think being selective of who your tribe is too is really helpful. Like, your mood really is going to be dependent on who you're surrounded by. So if I ever get an inkling that someone's in a negative mood all the time, I'm just like, I'm going to go over here and you can stay there. Sort of attitude. Well, I'm going to add an ask for both of you ladies too, because I just think you're so incredibly knowledgeable and helpful in each of your areas, so that if anyone is having an issue with something, don't be afraid to reach out to Nikki and Allie. I remember when we first were introduced to one another, we each expressed how intimidated we were by one another. And we're like, oh, is she going to talk to me? Which you look back on it now, it's absolutely ridiculous because you're just both incredible individuals and you're super, super nice. So don't ever be afraid to reach out to people because you'll be surprised at how much help and how many resources you'll get, especially from Allie and Nikki. So if you have a question or you're stuck on something involving what they do in their regular lives, reach out to them because they will have no problem helping out. But if they don't answer right away, don't freak out because they are busy and they're doing superhuman things.
Yeah, it takes a second.
Sometimes,
they'll get back to you for sure. So, well, thank you, Allie and Nikki. I really appreciate both of you so much, and I'm happy to know you. I consider you both really good friends of mine.
I love you too.
We're gonna definitely collaborate sometime in the future, and I can't wait to meet both of you in person because I'm gonna give you both a big hug. But to all of you listening in today, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate all of your support and your shout outs. We had one last comment come in from Ingrid. These ladies are awesome.
Yay, Ingrid! Shout out to Verify.
You're awesome as well too.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I hope everybody has a great, fantastic weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. A bunch of people are catching COVID now, and I have not yet gotten it, knock on wood, and I'm hoping that stays true. So have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This episode of Mavens of Manufacturing has been sponsored by Z Inc. Solutions. Z Inc. Solutions. This isn't your grandmother's copywriting service. We provide copywriting and copy editing services that provide impactful text and memorable storytelling for a variety of brands and industries. Contact us today at zincsolutions.com. That's z-inksolutions.com.